Hi everybody. I wanted to run this by everybody because I thought this was important. This is coming from IFL Science, and this seems to be pretty legit. June 16, 2015. Somebody named Amna Molden. The title of this says the first 5 months of 2015 were the hottest record months ever recorded. I'm going to go into this a little bit more in detail because it seems to have a lot of stats, so I'm going to try to do my best to skip around, but I want to hit all the main points. This year of 2015 is set to be a record breaker according to NASA's latest global temperature data. This year's temperature is 71 Celsius or 1.3 degrees Fahrenheit above the long-term average of the first 5 months ever on record for being the hottest. NASA's annual temperatures show slight variation where some years are cooler than others. But as John Abrams, The Guardian reports, 2015 is so far the year simply off the chart. Abrams suggests the recent record-breaking temperature put global warming critics in difficult position. The evidence is simply not on their side. Temperatures for the last 12 months are at record levels. The idea that the rate of global warming is slowing down or paused has been thoroughly refuted. Abrams points out that when surface temperatures and ocean heat content are combined, there's a clear pattern. Warming has been increasing. The best demonstrated with the heat wave in India, which has been making rounds in the media of sweltering temperatures, caused 2,500 deaths so far, according to the report from Slate's Eric Holtis. The temperatures were so hot they melted roads, and I've seen pictures of those on Facebook and everything else. So that was actually pretty cool. It was 45 degrees Celsius or 113 degrees Fahrenheit in New Delhi. Jason Sumnow, the Washington Post, explained that the record-breaking temperature cannot be divorced from global warming. He notes that the greenhouse gases likely contribute to dire situation that climate literature predicts more frequent, intense, longer duration of heat waves in future decades. What will future temperatures look like? Well, basically, NASA's produced high-resolution detailed temperatures and precipitation patterns around the world from between 1950 to 2100. In July of 2099, CO2 concentrations are predicted to reach an all-time high of 900 parts per million. We reached 400 parts per million in the first days of 2015. So anybody want to see how many more? That's insane. We're like, I don't know, 60-some% there, something like that. Just under, I think that'd be like 45%. An average global temperature is scorching. The models consist of two different situations: a business as usual scenario based on current trends, and an extreme case scenario in which significant increases in emissions occur. So I won't go into everything here because there's not much here left. But I found this data and I wanted to definitely put that out there. I don't generally use the IFL Science, but when I find a good article, I generally go with it. And what I found here was that it was something you and I and everybody here should probably start noticing. I refer to the Bible a lot of times for different things because you can claim it for this, you can claim it for that. But one of the things that got spot on, if you read it from front to back, is the temperature, the old ages, and everything else. And basically, when the Bible was created, supposedly, the area that's desert was supposedly lush and everything else, creating the Garden of Eden, yada, yada, yada. So they were actually hit the influx of that 5,000-year cycle where we actually see the areas and the poles probably flip. And we know from record that they do this about every 5 to 20,000 years. And the areas that are desert become lush with forest and jungles, and the areas with forests and jungles become deserts, and so it actually flips like this. And that's what generally does the pole changes and everything else. That's when we have the mass extinctions. That's when we have nearly everything. So that's what it is. And this is actually saying that either we have affected this or that this is a natural cycle and it's something that we haven't really looked at lately. And just for the 5 months of 2015, I don't have all the data to say this is something that is a spur of the minute account, or if this is something that is long term. But I do know that on record, in this, it says that the first 5 months of 2015 have been the hottest on record. And I live in Michigan where nothing happens. That's kind of like my slogan. And all we have really seen is rain. Rain or snow every single frickin' day or thereabouts. We have like 2 or 3 days of good weather every week. That's about it. And the last 3 months or so, it has been raining on and off, probably better part of, I would say, 4 hours a day. So we're actually getting more tropical rain, I would say it was, given the hotter temperatures, than most of the areas. Now, when we did get snow, we got a lot of snow, and that actually was concerning for a while because my family actually invested in a fireplace insert to conserve on our wood. And it got to a point where, we're glad we did that because there was so much snow. We usually lose power like 2-3 times a year, and one of it's generally right in the dead of winter. So that thing would be running 2, 3, 4 times what it usually would. And so we would get like, I'd say usually we'd get like 8 quarts of wood. Now I think we got 6 or 7, and it lasted all winter. I would still get 10 just to save face and get it to work well. Just so if you do have to burn 2 days in a row, you don't go through half your wood. That way if you have 2 or 3 sessions where you got to burn 2 days in a row, not a big deal. But according to this here, this is on record for being the first 5 months of 2015 were the hottest ever on record and ever recorded. And so I'm actually looking at this and I see outside and I think, well, why does it rain? It rains because there's a lot of precipitation, because there's a lot of moisture in the air. Well, why does that happen? Well, we know why that happens, because there's more hot air that rises and everything else, and it basically has to condense and fall. At least in theory, that's part of it. Right? Right. And if there's more water in the air, you can generally tell it's a hotter season. Now, generally, you'd also say if it's hotter out, then there would be a drought. Yes, well, it depends, It'll go back and forth until it evens out. But right now, if you're talking about 5 months in general being the hottest on record, and it being an arc that looks like this, and you're talking about it being, let's say this was the middle. So let's say we're here. We're still probably going to climb another, still going to probably climb another month or 2 before we get out of that cycle and hit a downward slope. So I want to put this out there, guys, because we are watching everything. I'm watching the weather. I'm watching everything. I've seen all these rainfall, all these Texas-related storms and everything. And I'm trying to put it all together nice and neat. And it is starting to fit here and there. But you know how it is, folks. You just got to kind of go with it. So thank you very much. And here's another piece of the puzzle.